night. That's right. Marvel Studios has finally realized they are putting too much money into the movies, and their television shows are not getting the cash back they want. So, here we go. Marvel Studios, a special presentation, a 52-minute episode of television about a werewolf hunting something in a weird maze. And yeah, okay. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is my most anticipated Marvel project because, one, it's 52 minutes, a nice, easy, breezy, lemon squeezy kind of thing. It's got some of my favorite concepts in the Marvel Universe where you lean into like the monster side of things and the horror side of things. I'm a sucker for classic 70s Marvel comics. I am a sucker for a big man thing. We got a huge man thing in this. And I'm a sucker for a werewolf story. And more than anything, I'm in love with Elsa Bloodstone. So, look, you shove all of those into one little story for me, I'll read it. Or I'll watch it, I should say. Because that's what this is, actually. It's like a 5-issue miniseries as opposed to like a full-length arc that you would see a movie be or a television show be. This is like almost a one-shot or just like a small mini. I'm like, that's awesome. I like that. Give me more of that. Here's my most controversial opinion about Werewolf by Night and about Marvel Studios that nobody will agree with me on. If they were to do this format every month for their entire conception, instead of a big blockbuster, instead of like a 6-episode piece of shit, just a 50-minute episode, January, February, all the way to December, I think that would be wickedly awesome. Like, that would just be perfect for me. Because that's what I like. So, I think this was really good. Now, part of me is like, well, the hype was overhyped. It is well done. Nothing else looks like it in terms of like this universe. And I don't think we make films like this anymore. It's really special that way. I don't think it's like this game-changing, like, life-altering experience where it's the best horror film all year. I don't think that at all. I think it just was well done. And more than anything, it shows us that we are really, like, less demanding of good stuff in our franchise pictures. Because you see something like this where it's like, okay, Giacchino is like, we're going to homage classic monster movies from the 40s, from the 50s. It's going to be like your classic Wolfman. It's going to be like your creature feature, your slasher, just like intense weird blood spills. It's going to be in black and white. We're going to have like the literal cigarette burns pop up on screen. That is cool. And then there is some modern sensibilities in there. Like, that might be my biggest deterrent from making this like a perfect film, is there are some modern camera movements. In some ways the camera works in favor of the story that feels too modern for the aesthetic it's talking about, but that's not a problem for everybody. That's just me like, if you didn't like, use a trolley and pull yourself close into this or back away from that and have like, the modern like depths of field, you would have done something a little more amazing than just awesome, if that makes sense. But this is like the coolest thing Marvel's done in a long time. Like, it looks the best. It's got a really tight script. The acting is fun. It's loose, and I appreciate that. It's not like, oh man, we have to sit down and expect an entire like lore drop on us in these 50 minutes. It's like, no, like, Ulysses Bloodstone died. Some monster hunters are going to show up and fight for the Bloodstone. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I can see that. That's a mini story in a comic book. You have, your favorite characters, like the one that looks like a vampire, the big guy with a beard, the one that looks like an edgelord, and then the one that looks like he's from the Warriors 3. And then you got your main characters, Gael Garcia Bernal, who plays Jack Russell, who surprised me. Like, when the show starts out, you're like, okay, I think I got a read on this guy. He's kind of stiff, kind of stoic. And then as the story progresses, he finds humanity. He becomes more human. And it does like my favorite part of this entire thing probably is that 2 separate moments, the 2 leads are like, we could just die here, or I'm just going to die here and I'm accepting my fate. 2 different moments. Jack does it when they're like locked in this tomb and he's like, we could just die here and starve. And I could accept that. Like, that's great. Like, he really brought more like flair to the role than I expected. I thought it'd be more like stiff and stoic, but they do present him as the protagonist, not just another cog in the machine of this game. He is the hero of this story. and it's really cool. Not to mention the werewolf effects. Oh, am I so glad they went practical? Because it looks like a shaggy, ragged dog just leaping around like a gorilla. I love it. It looks so dumb, but so good. Like the face looks great, but every time you see like a long shots of the hair, you're like, oh, that is so intense and rough. I love it. It's great. And Laura Donnelly is Elsa Bloodstone, like I said, a favorite character of mine, and she delivers a very good performance. It is a little more rough, or a little more, like, I guess, loose than what I expect from an Elsa Bloodstone, but your first time doing this character, you have a certain image you need to prepare for. You're going to become the harder edge character later, which I appreciate. She might get the most brutal kills out of anybody in the MCU, and I appreciate that too, because she's like, I don't give a shit. I'll kill all these losers. And I appreciate that perfectly. And much like Jack, when they're in the tomb, is just like, we could die here. She's like, all right, you're a monster and you're going to kill me? Fine. Just make it quick and don't fucking talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's Elsa. I like that so much. So those two, they have some longevity for this universe. I 100% believe that. They fit in so perfectly while being so distinctly different from everything. I really like that. They have great chemistry. They are very in character. It's kind of cool. And yes, everybody, there is some man thing in here. I love when a show hangs a man thing for me. And it was great. Like, was that practical? There are certain moments towards the end where I'm like, that can't be CG, right? That's just moving so calmly. It's like, if it was like a big puppet, I would believe that. But, oh, what a great use of that character. They name drop Ted. They call him Ted Silas. I'm like, oh, yeah, you did it. You're actually showing some humanity for this guy. You're going there. I'm like, that's really cool. The score is very like 1950s horror movie. Some of like the really intense shots where like the lightning strikes, or we like zoom in on like a gargoyle on the side of a wall, or we just do like a beautiful pan where we're watching this monster go ham on people. It looks like a horror film. It's shot like that. It's just the modern conceptions that I think kind of affect that to be really perfect. But when they really lean into it, and Michael really leans into it with the directing, it is spectacular and it's fun. I don't know if they'd ever have the balls to do something this insane again, because it is just like perfect. A great distillation of like, hey, let's not extend this story. Let's try to do something creepy this Halloween season. Let's do a Wolfman picture. You did a great Wolfman picture with great costuming, great lighting, great effects. I was blown away. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's like the best thing Marvel ever produced. I would be hesitant to call it that. But it's their most ambitious in a long time. It's their most baller in a long time. And it's probably got the best introduction to some new characters in a long time. When you see an actor just like understand how to make that character likable in a split second, that is impressive to me. And I don't think anybody did it better than Gael Garcia Bernal in here. He just like, no, yeah, as soon as that light comes on, he makes it perfect. I was super impressed with this story. I think this was fun. I encourage a lot more people to check it out. I hope it gets good numbers, because I would love a younger audience to be like, oh man, look at the way this is shot and filmed with like these certain like aspect changes, and the way the music cues up here, and like this billowing smoke, and the way we're like focusing on like all this wrong stuff. Like when we just zoom in on Elsa when we're seeing the transformation, so the lightning is striking, the light is just like shadowing the figure of the werewolf making behind her, and she's just staring directly into camera. I want a young person to see that and be like, oh man, I gotta see Creature, man. I gotta go back and see like the Wolfman, like all those original flicks. I gotta go see all of them. Like, I really want that to be the case here, because I genuinely think it will inspire at least one person younger than me to be like, okay, classic horror looks sick. And that's the benefit of this, man. I think it was worth it. Cool. So Werewolf by Night, a Marvel Studios special presentation. One of many to come, I have no doubt, because they're probably cheap to make. I am going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.